No, but they should have.
I wish they had too. 18 before 9 o'clock. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Dave. 1380 KTKZ. It's the Bill Cowan Show live from the Sleep Train Studios. And now joining us, if I am not mistaken, from the county seat of Denton County, it is Denton, Texas, my friend Karen, who was a native Californian and used to be one of my neighbors. She lived just a couple of doors down with her husband Craig, and a few years ago they decided, had it with California, and Karen, you moved to Texas. So what do you think?
Welcome to beautiful North Texas.
You know, I live just down the road. That was so funny. A buddy of mine, and I think I told this story last week, a guy that I'd known for a long time, was talking to me a few years ago about some housing development in Austin where they were looking to move some properties as rentals, and he says, oh, you ought to take a look at it. He says, trust me. He says, oh, it's in Austin, just outside Austin. He says, Austin's the only town in Texas where you'd want to live. And I said, no, John, it's the only town in Texas where you'd want to live.
Oh, absolutely.
I lived in Lewisville, Texas, which is right there in Denton County, and I liked it fine.
Yes. I wouldn't want to live in Austin because, just as Chuck said, Austin is the San Francisco of Texas. It is so liberal. It's where all the politics are going on.
All the politics are going on, and UT is there, and you've got the whole academic environment kind of engulfing the town.
Yeah, and to that end, I have to say it's a little ironic for us because here we left California, we left Folsom, which was, pretty conservative area, a little conservative enclave there, and moved here to Denton. And Denton happens to be a college town. There are two big colleges here, UNT and Texas Women's University. So I found myself in reverse. I'm living in a conservative state in a liberal town. Now, it is liberal because of all of the, university people and professors and such. However, it is still a Republican-held city. So I think that that's interesting, and it speaks a lot to, the difference between California liberals and Texas liberals. One thing I did want to point out is that I volunteer every week, every Monday actually, at our local food bank here in Denton. And I happen to be surrounded by...
Wait, Karen... Conservatives don't do stuff like that. You don't care about people who are starving.
Yeah, I know. Well, and here, interestingly, though, of course, it's staffed with mostly retired teachers and retired state workers. So a lot of them are liberal. In fact, I would say more, I know for a fact, out of our crew that's 10 on Mondays, there's only three of us that are really conservative, and the rest are, they're former state workers. However, of course, they've gotten an earful from me, and, it's pretty funny.
Why am I not surprised?
I know. They challenged me, and, oh, my God, the stories I could tell you about when Obama won and everything, and everybody was braced for me coming in there. But anyway, that aside, what I've discovered is that these liberals don't have a clue what liberalism really is in the United States because they live under conservative laws here in Texas. So they spout these liberal, we vote for this and that and these liberal causes, but they don't live under those causes. And I guarantee you, and I said this to them before, if you had to live in a liberal state like California, you wouldn't be a liberal. Not these people. They're much more middle of the road, and they just simply do not understand what liberalism has done to California and to our country.
Well, and I think in a very real sense, and your husband Craig and I have had this chat before, I think when it comes to party identification, it's just that it's become downright tribal, the way that people identify with their political party. And I'm sorry, but I think it's way, way more intense on the part of Democrats than Republicans. I think Republicans are far more likely to turn their back on their party. For Democrats, that's so much of their self-identity is wrapped up in being a Democrat.
I know, and besides that, so many of them don't understand how the term Democrat is really no longer what it used to be. It is not. It is progressive. It's socialist. It is not what their mother and father's, Democrat Party was.
Oh, you know what? There are a number of Hubert Humphrey quotes that if you read today, people would swear that must have come from David Dukes.
Yes, exactly. And same with Kennedy. I mean, Kennedy would be, I'm sure he's rolling over in his grave thanks to coming here to Texas. But, he's much more conservative than the liberals of today. So,
yeah.
Anyway, and then there was one other point I wanted to make. Of course, I could talk all day, about loving it here. But I have, as you know, I have a small, home-based business.
Right.
Interior design. And I had my business there in California, and it cost me several $100s to start it up with all of the, permits, and you have to, publish your name in the paper and 3 times and blah, 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 on and on. Here in Texas, when I went down, I didn't even know how to open it up here, but I talked to my accountant. So all I did was I went down to the county office into where you start your business, and I said, I'd like to open my business. So they said, okay, fill this out. So I filled it out, one piece of paper, and I paid $10. And I said, okay, well, what else? He goes, no, it's $10. I had my business license, and I was registered in under 1 hour.
And it cost $10?
$10. That is it.
Wow.
Of course, no state taxes or anything, so I don't have to, fill out those tax forms that you had to do at the end of the year in California, how much did you make?
Oh, and all the, man.
And it's just such a difference, Phil.
Yeah, I know, I believe it. I know that everything is just much more relaxed back there when it comes to regulation, and it makes a gigantic difference.
Oh, my goodness. We probably told you the story of when we first moved here, and we wanted to, get some guns from here in Texas because, it's different here. You can have more rounds, et cetera, whatever. So we go to this little local gun. Actually, it was a shack. It was pretty small.
Hey, hold that story for me because I got to get to a break. I want to hear the gun shop story when we come back, okay?
Okay.
All right. This is my friend Karen from Denton, Texas. Let's see what's going on in traffic real quick. Here is Kevin Drake who's filling in. Isn't O'Brien?
KTKZ.
5 minutes before 9, 1380 KTKZ. CC Top, a Texas band, as a matter of fact, coming into this break. I'm talking to my friend Karen, who lives in Denton, Texas. She used to live in Folsom, California, and was one of my neighbors. Karen, we've only got a couple of minutes left. Quickly, tell me the story about the gun shop purchase.
Okay, so Craig and I got our car, walk in, wanting to buy some guns, and there's a fellow parked next to us, gets out of his truck, and he's got his rifle right there, holding it in his hand. And, of course, being from California, I'm like, oh, that instant shock because it's so conditioned.
Yeah.
A
gun openly carried in public you just don't see here.
No, and it's totally it's what you see here in Texas. Another thing, shortly after that massacre, I think it was in Colorado,
right,
where at the movie theater, I started seeing signs on restaurants, and it said something to the effect of open carry is allowed here as long as it's licensed. So
in other words, people started putting up signs saying this ain't a gun-free zone.
That's right. It's not a gun-free zone. And, I so much feel safer here because of that. And even if they don't have those signs, I go to a movie theater, I know darn well there's going to be 1 or 2 people there with handguns.
Yeah, and it's quite likely in that sense.
Yeah, you're just not going to have these massacres that you do in all of the gun-free zones.
Yeah, it's very true. Well, Karen, honey, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, same here, Phil. And hey, I wanted to say congratulations on the show.
Well, thank you.
You absolutely belong on radio, and we're thrilled when we heard that you had your new show. So.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. You have a good one, and say hi to Cam for me.
Thanks.
They have a son who's going to school there in Texas.